Mullet's YouTube channel.
Hurry up, now tell us why you're here.
Dear YouTube, please do not demonetize this video. Today is September 2nd, 2020, the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II. And also for this video, here are 75 events in World War II that also happened in cars. And I will also list everything in chronological order. There are the Allies and the Axis, just like in real life. The first fact is that Japan would still invade China in 1937. And also, there is the Panay incident, where the Japanese attacked an American boat in the Yangtze River. And also, the Japanese would take Shanghai in 1937, as well as the cities of Peking, which is now Beijing, and Nanking, which is now Nanjing. And in 1939, Germany would invade Poland, which is basically the reason that World War II started. And also, the Soviet Union would also invade Poland, just like in real life, because that's why World War II started. And sadly, Poland was divided between the two invaders. The United Kingdom and France are not happy with this. So, just like in real life, they would declare war on Germany. And also at this point, the Japanese would take a lot of China, which would also happen in the Cars world, sadly. Germany would also use submarine warfare in the Atlantic Ocean. And also, this means that there would be the Battle of the Atlantic, where Britain needs to keep getting supplies. In late 1939, the Soviet Union would still invade Finland, and fail. The French built this line, called the Maginot Line, to protect against Germany. But the Germans go around it by going through the Low Countries and the Ardennes foothills. And sadly, France fell. But luckily, some French refused to comply to Germany and resist. And now the French colonial empire is divided on what to do. And also, Italy would join World War II, just like in real life after the fall of France. Sweden has a lot of iron ore, which means that Germany will have to invade Denmark and Norway to get this iron ore. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union would also invade the Baltic countries. And sadly, they'd all fall. The Italians would try to invade parts of Africa. The Italians would also try to invade Greece. We'll see how that goes later. Germany had a plan to invade the UK called Operation Sea Lion, and it would fail. The United States would also send Lend-Lease to the United Kingdom. And also, Germany would invade Yugoslavia to help Italy, because Italy is not doing super well in Greece, and even are losing. Bulgaria would also join the Axis to help Germany invade. And also, unlike the Italians, the Germans made Greece fall very quickly. The Soviet Union demands land from Romania, specifically Bessarabia and Bukovina. And now Romania joins the Axis and does these territorial concessions. And now, Germany betrayed the USSR and now have invaded all the way to Moscow, taking other important cities along the way. Japan would also take French Indochina, and Japan would also take the Dutch East Indies and British Malaya, which have a lot of rubber. And now the Japanese Empire looks like this. How does any country get that big that fast? And here's a depressing fact. Japan would still bomb Pearl Harbor. I have an entire video for that. And also, this also means that the United States would join World War II on the side of the Allies. But luckily, the Germans would fail to conquer Moscow. The Soviets used troops in Siberia to help save Moscow, which means that they are at peace with Japan. The Axis do not have enough oil. So that means that the Axis are going to go for Azerbaijan. And because, well, you see in that circle, there's a lot of oil in there. And that means that the Axis are now going to push south to get Azerbaijan. And now the Japanese took even more territory! And now, the United States will win the Battle of the Coral Sea and also win the Battle of Midway against the Japanese. And also would win at Guadalcanal. Skipper Riley fought there. There's even a scene in planes of this battle. And also, the Germans would push all the way to Stalingrad, or in the Cars world, Stalingrad. But luckily, the USSR, or the Soviet Union, wins this battle. And also, the Allies would succeed in doing Operation Torch, where they land in North Africa, which also means that the Axis lost the North African campaign. And now the Allies are going to go straight for Italy, where they invade Sicily and win. The Allies would also invade Italy, and would succeed because, just like in real life, the Italian military isn't very good. After the Soviet Union would win the Battle of Stalingrad, or Stalingrad, they would also push west and kick the Axis out of their land. The United States would also win the Gilbert and Marshall Islands campaign in this time. In Yugoslavia, there are communist partisans led by Josip Broz Tito. Just like in real life, there would be an Allied invasion of northern France on June 6th, 1944. But in the Cars world is led by Dwight D. Flysenhower. In the Pacific, the United States would still win the Mariana and Palau Islands campaign. And also, most of Western Europe would be liberated from the Germans in 1944. And also, they'd also push into Germany itself, same as in real life. But the Allies would somehow fail Operation Market Garden in this world as well. In the Pacific, Douglas MacArthur would land in the Philippines, and the Soviets would take over Axis countries in the Balkans. In 1945, the Germans tried a counteroffensive, creating a bulge, and there would still be the Battle of the Bulge. The Soviets would also push into Poland and take it. And also, in February of 1945, there is the Yalta Conference, where Germany would be divided like this, and Poland would be divided like this. So yeah, that would happen in the Cars world as well. In the Pacific, the United States would win the Battle of Iwo Jima, and also, the US would also win the Battle of Okinawa. But sadly, 100,000 vehicles would die. And also, the Soviet Union would also take Berlin, just like in real life. And also like in real life, this would be the territory control at the end of the war in Europe. And also, the Japanese are losing control in China. Remember that the Soviet Union no longer has to fight in Europe, just like in real life. So, the Soviets declare war on Japan and they conquered that huge area in 11 days! And also, in August of 1945, an atomic bomb would be dropped on Hiroshima and another one on Nagasaki, thus ending World War II in Cars, just like in real life. And World War II killed 60 million people, sadly. And sadly, 6 million Jewish vehicles would die in the Holocaust, sadly. And luckily, the Axis lost World War II, and the Allies won World War II just like in real life, which is good. And also, there were many other things that also probably happened, but I didn't have time to put them in this video. Well, after all, so let's put 75 facts. If you have a question over why a specific event happened, ask me in the comment section.
Remember to press the notifications button, which goes ring, ring, ring after you press it. And lightning strikes back, and that's as if you subscribed, of course. And thank you for watching this entire video.
Yeah, I know it might sound like a story and not a fact video because, well, I'm better at telling stories than reading facts. But either way, the 1994 Florida 500 should be out soon enough.